Hi, everybody. Mondion Astral Oracles, and wishing you a happy Easter. It is Easter Sunday, 2022, as I'm filming this video. So, a happy Easter to you, and that's of course the miracle of resurrection, which, if you're listening in or otherwise looking at the trees, is syncing up with the fact that they are almost budding, and if you live as far up north as here, or even a bit further south, you know how miraculous a time this is, because it's such a dramatic and huge shift in mood and elevation, and in light and brightness and life and everything. So I hope you're also enjoying it and taking it in wherever you are, because things are popping around here, and I'm also about to pop, and I think at least over at Patreon, I dropped a hint at some point that I'd make a revelation about where I was going geographically and the shifts taking place in my life. If you've been keeping up for the channel for long, I used to live out in a house in the woods for some years, and then I went traveling. I was in Spain and Mexico and back in Denmark, and dealing with crises and stuff, and that's kind of what's been going on, and now I'm hitting well, the road again, or at least I'm crossing the seas, because I am going to a completely different part of the world. I'm going to the rainforest on the eastern side of the big island of Hawaii. And why am I going there? Well, if you've been keeping up with the show, you also know that, well, connected to all these awakening experiences and everything, I sort of made the conscious choice of giving up on dating 3 years ago in the beginning of 2019, and I actually found out it matched up with my horoscope later on. So when I made that decision, it was kind of a major cycle coming to an end in something with the Venus configuration, and so I've sort of been out of the loop with that, and dealing with other problems, setting myself straight, all the energy symptoms, and of course getting into channeling and all those things. So that's been my life. But then about 2 months ago, uh, someone, a very lovely person, reached out to me, and long story short, I kind of wound up asking her if we could continue talking on the following Monday, and then I realized that. Oh, that's the 14th of February, which is kind of a big deal, right? So our first day was on Valentine's Day, which was kind of cute, right? And then we met up in Ireland, and she visited me in Denmark. But she is American, and though she was staying at Montreal at that point, she does live right now, off grid, on the big island in Hawaii, where she owns a piece of land that she's clearing, and otherwise kind of lives in a shed. So it will be a lovely experience, and of course, I think she's the absolutely most amazing person I've ever met, and and I think it's very interesting, all these incredible synchronicities that have been connected to it for me. So we met in Ireland, where I've never been, but I am an incredible fan of James Joyce, to say the least, who was, if you're unfamiliar, kind of like, well, he was to literature what Albert Einstein was to physics in the 20th century, like simply a one-man artistic revolution, like such an incredible author in so many ways. And the major heroine in his major work is, of course, the Molly Bloom in Ulysses, who gets the final word. And so I found myself having coffee actually quite randomly in front of Eccles Street, number 7 there, their home with a girl named Molly, who I simply thought was the most amazing person in the world. And Joyce was a person who himself thought very much like this, and of course his wife was Nora, who was also the name of the greatest heroine in the greatest piece of most famous piece of fiction by his favorite author, who was Henrik Ibsen, and in A Doll's House, right, where she also gets the famous last word and leaves Helmer. So in that sense, that there's really been this connection to me in so many ways that I haven't described, to be able to tap into a connection to the divine feminine. And of course, to say the least, it's also been a great upheaval, and there are apparently a lot of lessons connected to these things for all of us, naturally, but also lessons that I found that I was unable to deal with, or things that I've, sort of put away for 3 years, and now I'm back to being in a relationship, and confronted with my own shortcomings in that sense. But of course, it's a very, very happy turn of events, and I'm looking very much forward to bringing you content from Hawaii, and things may begin to drip in already, and you may notice that I've been very preoccupied with landscapes recently, and that's of course also because it's so interesting that now, as we communicate. Molly is situated exactly on the opposite side of the planet, so we are 12 hours apart. So it's the same time of day, but AM, PM, right? Whenever we communicate. So there is that interesting yin yang um, balancing act in the very exchange between us, and it is kind of like there's this planet between us where we're reaching through the energy grid to communicate. So it's a very interesting and lovely experience, and also what I'm gathering from the energies on the Big Island is that they are very, very versatile and helpful for the work that I do. So I'm very excited about that as well. Um, so that's kind of what's been going on in my life, and otherwise things are very turbulent. I'm just, bumming around, staying with friends and family until I leave in 9 days from now. I'm practically broke, so if anybody feels like they want to get some sessions in, do while I have access to Danish fiber broadband internet connections and steady things, and I will get back online, but I'm not sure when I will be able to host live streams and stuff, though I will be able to share videos from over there, but it might be a few weeks before those things are set up. Right now it's uh, it's it's relying on solar to get the internet powered, so those are some of the challenges, but I am looking forward to it. And of course, if you just want to send a donation in order to support the work and bring me there, and I'm looking to get some new equipment because things are breaking down in my reality here, which is another sign that there's this kind of thing. Things are changing and changing up, and it seems like there's a shift going on. And of course, also to my American friends, which I do believe is a majority of the viewership or the audience. I'm looking much forward to joining the culture, and I am a little afraid that I'll get really into guns. But other than that, I'm very much looking forward to it. And Americans are also rumored around the world. I don't know if you know, but to be very warm and friendly people when you visit. So hooray for that. Um, but but to sort of combine this with the channeling, what a lovely format, right? Um, I think I'll try to bring in something around these synchronicities, and well, partially, I, I don't necessarily like to to take these concepts such as twin flame or soulmate and so forth and so on, and kind of apply them to things that you're experiencing, because a lot of toxic situations can arise from that. But at the same time, I've had this very unique experience of being when I meet this lovely person who I'm now with. That it's okay. There you are. Like simply that deep sense of recognition that I've never felt with anybody else, which is very interesting. And I had a lot of interesting premonitions around this. So it was just before those days I was channeling Aphrodite, for instance, and I also remember, I think it was actually the day before I heard from her. For some reason, I spent a good deal of time thinking about the story of Paul Gauguin, the post-impressionist, who also stayed in Copenhagen, was married to a Danish woman, and absolutely hated it, and then left her and a child behind, and left Van Gogh behind, and then in France, and then went to Tahiti and did morphine and and infected people with syphilis and painted some wonderful art. So like, but that story, of really feeling fed up with the North European energy and thinking like, well, why don't I just escape to an island in the Pacific? And then of course there comes the island princess to sort of lift me out of also my sort of dreary and somewhat bleak northern outlook. So it's a beautiful experience, and I will of course be sharing it as it goes on. But it's also been, of course, something that needed to sort of settle and develop. But I am, at least the ticket says so. The plan says so. My heart says so. Going to Hawaii, and how wonderful that is. And just to add to the synchronicities, the place I was just at, now I've moved locations again, but Seasted in the far northwest is known as Cold Hawaii, because they've been trying to brand themselves as a place for windsurfing. So it is kind of from cold to hot Hawaii, and getting from sort of the cold, patriarchal, hardened energies of Germania, and into to sort of the warm womb of that that tectonic hotspot, that is Hawaii, and especially the big island that's still under creation, right? Um, so let's talk to. I think I'll say Pele for when I'm actually there, but and of course we could also speak to Aphrodite, but since I am in the north, and I've been enjoying channeling a lot of the Norse pantheon recently, let's talk to Freya, the Norse goth of fertility and love and fecundity and all those good things. So thank you so much for being here, and many Easter blessings. And I hope that that well, the season is also showering you with resurrections and fortuitous events in one way or the other. Much love, guys. Gentle bows and soft curves abound. Wherever I extend my energy, things become softened, disarmed, leveled by the force of sensual love. And therefore Freya as I am known, or Freya you may also call me, names and vibrations are not that important, but I, the great goddess of love of warm bodily embraces, of gifts and overflowing, I extend my open hands to you this day, and from nothing I open them up and extend riches, gifts, happiness beyond imagination to all of you who dare reach out and grab a hold of it. And so, what this vessel who is sharing this story of his own romantic encounters this day, he is pointing to, the fact, or rather, he is circling the fact that he does not know what is going on. Is this a fact? Well, the word contains the problem in this case, because within the idea of the fact there needs to be something solid, there needs to be something tangible, there needs to be something that can actually be made out to be, if not a certainty, then at least a plan with a great probability of succeeding. And yet, none of these things really apply in the realms of love. Instead, in these realms of attraction, you find that it is the signals of emotion that come forward. You find that it is these senses, these premonitions, these feelings, almost these dreamlike impulses of twilight sensation that comes forward to announce to you that love is coming into your life. And what is the challenge here? Is there indeed a problem? Because indeed, notice another pattern that I bring forward in the being that I am translating my energy through. And this pattern is that there needs to be a problem to consult our energies. There needs to be an upset. There needs to be something that is unclear that has to be unfolded. But can he instead bask in the manifestation of the energy itself? Can he understand that there is also a poetic presence simply in allowing my energy, other energies, the energies of my kind, the deities, and those forces that aid and assist in the lives of men? Can he accept that our presence is also an offering in and of itself? Does there need to be a problem solved in temple or on this holy day? Do you understand that it can be the mood of the holy itself? It can be the presence of togetherness, of that effervescent more, that surplus of bright and positive emotion that you call romantic love or affection, that it can be that thing that manifests. It can be the promise of sweet things to come, the remembrance of sweet things that have passed, and the fulfillment of sweetness in the moment. This is a circle of delight, and it is exactly this delight that is on offer once you cease to strive to hold it. And so this is the deep meaning, for instance, of that endearing proverb or instruction to let something go if you love it, and to see it return if it belongs to you, in the sense of belonging is meant the sense of longing to be with. And indeed, what do you long to be with in this life? Can you put that forward? Because this is the way that you manifest these things. And so these circular premonitions, these feelings that the goddess of love, she needs to be contacted, or the sense that there is a tropical island calling you. These are actually belongings. They are not silly wishes. They are things that you long to be with. And the more that you can, from a pure-hearted place of acceptance of your situation, still make clear to yourself what it is you long to be with, what it is that is indeed a type of wanted situation, what the personal paradise of your Eden, your beautiful flowering garden contains of promises and gifts. This is the way to bring in these wonders into your life. But take heed that it is an emotional manifestation. Make sure that you focus on how you will be feeling when you are surrounded by these wonders. How will you feel? How will it be positively developing in your body as a wonderful type of expansive thrill, a type of elation and gratitude? How will that feel in your body when you are surrounded by these things? And can you then allow for you to embrace them? And can you allow to embrace the love of the human heart as it mirrors itself back and forth within the dyad of romantic love? Within that union, there is beauty on offer, there is love to be had, there are mysteries to be uncovered, there are seals to be described, there are unions to be achieved, to dwell in, to rest in, and to expand in harmony and in synchronicity, in melody and tune with the rhythms of the all. Your heart, it beats a tone, and that tone, it rises to a fluttering pitch. It rises towards the sky. It rises towards new heights. The rhythm of your blood, your breath, and your heartbeat becoming ever more refined in their ability to love. Therefore, please do take comfort in the developments, mysteries, and signs flooding in to your life. Put them in your magical journal and see how interior and exterior melts into perfect spiritual union, with blessings of great prosperity, with assurances of love to all human beings. I, Freya, I bid you goodbye this day with love. It's a beautiful energy to hold, and yes, much love to you out there, guys.